listen to him. He knows everything.
We live in an age where punishments no longer fit the crimes. An ever-expanding army of flak-jacketed control officers roam the streets, looking for the slightest infraction of the rules. The penalty racket is the only part of the economy that's actually getting any bigger. And the less you have to spend, the more the dark forces of fluorescent-vested penalisers want to take from you. Take the poor dear who is giving her toddler a piece of sausage roll. The 4-year-old's poor little hands couldn't hold on to it, and a bit fell on the pavement, which is against the law. No sooner had the sweetmeat hit the deck than 2 representatives of Her Majesty's City of Hull Council apprehended the miscreant and delivered unto her a £75 fine. But pigeons have instantly seized on the crumbs and nothing's left behind, she pleaded. But the forces of order were having none of that. No, the full might of the law was brought to bear upon her. She can't pay, 'cause she's on benefits. But she could always go to prison. It's the latest thing in all-inclusive getaways and beats Sandals and Club Med because you get paid to be there. It's so unutterably lovely inside that people are actually breaking into jail to distribute drugs freely. And even though there's an obvious and well-used escape route for the dealers, inmates can't be bothered to make a break for it, as it's just so nice inside. The worst elements of society, those whose crimes involve even more than having a child with butterfingers or leaving their bin lid open, are enjoying free Sky TV, free phones, breakfast in bed, 3 square meals a day, an easy and endless supply of cheap narcotics and hookers, video games, subservient staff, and cash for good behaviour. The Prison Officers Association says it's like putting prisoners up in a holiday camp. That'll teach 'em! The whole world's gone crazy. They also, by the way, are, I saw 2 stories about, they're saying that there's no more room in prisons anymore. We're going to have to let everybody out. Just open the doors and just wander freely. Empty police cells are costing us £20 million a year. Because they've rented them just in case, and then they're not using them. More than 50,000 places were reserved inside police stations since April last year, but were never filled. Police cells are hired to carry overspill from prisons at an average cost of £385 a night. A night!
What?
You could stay at the Ritz for that. Mind you don't get breakfast. In the week ending 23rd of March, more than £700,000 was spent on 1,822 places inside custody suites. Oh, it's a suite. The figures sparked outrage among MPs, of course. Shadow Justice Minister Edward said, Jack Straw says he's not losing any sleep over prison overcrowding. Clearly he is asleep at the wheel. Oh, I bet he was up all night thinking of that one. Since the start of April last year, 51,000 places in police station cells have not been used at a cost to the taxpayer of £20 million. So, let me get my head around this. They're reserved. So, in other words, they're renting them. Does the government rent from the police? That's insane. Why don't they just say, well, let us know if you've got any spare? Justice Secretary Mr Straw has defended the operation for hiring out police cells, but a Ministry of Justice spokesman said it was not an exact science, and a review had been launched to make the system better value for money. Oh, there'll be a review. Oh, well, that's all right then. Hey, I tried to book a little trip to Italy, and I mistakenly booked with Alitalia. And then I read they're going out of business. Hang on a minute, let's see if I can get that. I thought, who do you go to in, who do you fly to Italy? And within Italy, it was like one of these complicated trips where you just don't go there, then you go like, inside Italy, and then you come back from where you didn't start from, all of those, like one of those. And I thought, what better than to actually go with the airline of the country that you're going to? And foolishly, in a hurry, I thought, well, I'll just get it all done right now, no problem at all, and the whole thing came to about, I don't know, like £700. Flights, like one to there, one inside, and then from where I didn't end up initially back. Do you get it? In other words, 3 one-way trips. That more clear? And then I read this. The European Commission has raised concerns that an Italian government loan given to Alitalia is illegal state aid and is seeking more details. The Commission said it would send a letter to the government asking for clarification about the nature of a €300 million loan. The lifeline, and that's when a little alarm bell started ringing in my mind, a lifeline to an airline was given to keep the debt-laden airline from collapsing until a buyer stepped forward. Now, I don't know about you, but I'd rather not fly with an airline that is potentially going to collapse. I'd rather fly with an airline that is so awash with money that they don't know what to do with it, hiring extra security personnel, going over the engines twice over. Air France-KLM scrapped its bid last week amid opposition from the unions. Agreeing to the loan earlier in the week, the outgoing Italian government of Prime Minister Romano Prodi insisted it was made on commercial grounds, but the European Commission has doubts. Under European rules, EU governments are forbidden from subsidising struggling companies that could give them an unfair advantage over rivals except under exceptional circumstances. Rival airlines, Ryanair, British Airways and the rest have said that they will be closely following the outcome. The latest bailout makes a mockery of the EU state rules, says Ryanair head of legal affairs, Jim Callaghan. Not the Jim Callaghan. Is he still alive? Jim Callaghan? No one has any idea. Alitalia, which is bleeding about, guess how many euros a day? That's right, €1 million. €1 million a day they're losing. Isn't that incredible? Now, I'm not saying that they would compromise safety, but if I was running a company that was losing €1 million a day, I'd think about it, wouldn't you? Hello?
Wouldn't they just cut back on meals?
Somebody told me that they took a flight in Alitalia and the in-flight catering was a bowl of boiled sweets.
I read somewhere that I think Air America took one grape or one olive out of their first-class salads and managed to save $32,000.
Which is exactly the sort of thing that people would put to the side of the plate anyway, because who wants that in a salad? In a martini, now you're talking. It's had a choppy ride over the past few years and has recently flirted with bankruptcy. I don't want to fly, no offence, but I don't want to fly on any, I don't want to put my life in the hands of any organisations that's flirting with bankruptcy.
They're just flirting, they're not doing it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, exactly right. They're not doing anything. Hands above the table at all times. A number of interested suitors, the latest being Air France-KLM. Are they together now, Air France and KLM? KLM are the Dutch airline, aren't they? It's very hard to remember who's doing what to whom in the airline business. They're all... It's like it's like a South American soap. They've been forced to throw in the towel, have these suitors, for varying reasons. Silvio Berlusconi, who will take over from Mr. Prodi in mid-May. Can you believe that? That bloke is going to be running Italy. Isn't that scary? I mean, we think we've got problems. He said that the loan would allow extra time for a group of Italian entrepreneurs, banks and airlines to study Alitalia's accounts in view of making an offer to buy the flag carrier. Yeah, 4 guys named Vinny. Gonna make him an offer he can't refuse. Just a joke. Securing Alitalia's future was one of Mr. Berlusconi's main election pledges as he impressed on the electorate the importance of keeping it under Italian ownership. So I read all that and I thought, oh, well, blimey, that's great, because I'm not going quickly. I booked it for the end of the year. What if they fold just before I go and then there won't be any flights available and I'll have paid for the accommodation, but I won't be able to get there? So I'll cancel. Have you ever tried to cancel a flight with an airline? One thing I did do before I booked with Alitalia was go to one of these websites that churns all of the available fares. You know, there's loads of them, and they're called all sorts of things. There's Expedia and Deckchair, and I don't know if Deckchair's still going, but there's just loads of them. And so I churned it all through. I come to find out, whereas they used to be, there's been a sea change in travel, I think, because they used to be the cheapest flights that were available. If you went direct to the airline, you'd be paying through the nose, which is what governments do, and secretaries who are organising the business flights for their bosses, because they don't care how much it costs. They just go the easiest route straight to the airline, and boom, it's done in 5 minutes. That was always the most expensive way to do it. And so these, like bucket shops, they used to call them. And I don't know if they still exist as high street premises, or even have call centres anymore because everyone's doing everything on the worldwide wait. But it used to be the cheapest way to fly. Go to a bucket shop and they'll get you a flight much cheaper than the actual airline that you'll be sitting on can offer it. Things have changed. I saved about, well, before I got into all this can I have my money back thing, I saved over 50%. In other words, it would have cost, if I'd gone with one of these internet sites that churn fares for you, I think it was going to be something like £860 each. So this is more than 50% because the entire package for two was $700 booking direct with the airline. So £700 as opposed to £1,600 by booking on one of these internet sites that tells you that they're going to get the cheapest possible fare. What's changed in the time since I last took my holiday to make them so uncompetitive now? Gosh, Nick, I really don't know. Let me find that out. Raj, there's a flurry of activity. It's 9:45. LBC Travel with Alan Joyce.
Thanks, Nick.
Hello.
Jenny Barnett was talking on that little clip of her show about how men are aggressive. Speaking on behalf of all men, Jenny, we are not aggressive and we'll kill anybody who says we are. The reason that as she said, men will argue about anything. My dad used to say that me and my brother, this is in the time when we were sitting in the back seat, kissing and hugging with Fred. Oh no, that's a song. When we were in shorts, we're constantly arguing. Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Like one of those, school children. Arguing about how much of the armrest we were occupying between us. He's on my side, he said. You two would argue about 2 raindrops falling down a window. We would argue with a sat-nav, she said. I like that. Men would argue with a sat-nav. I'm sort of glad that I don't have a sat-nav anymore because some oik nicked mine outside of this building. Not that I like to go on and on and on and on and on about it, but it's like a television in the car. And I know that when I had my sat-nav, I was watching the television more than I was watching what was happening outside the window. Because you were always checking to see whether it followed what the road was doing, right? Seeing if it had its topography right. I suppose just to see, when it would get it wrong, you go, aha! But here's the reason why men are terrible drivers. Men motorists are more aggressive than females because they still behave like cavemen, a psychologist claims. Professor Jeff says the way in which men and women drive is a legacy of their primitive past. In a report for the Commons Transport Committee, he uncovered deep-rooted reasons for their different behaviour. He concluded our 21st century skulls contain essentially Stone Age brains. And this can help explain the differences between the sexes in terms of their risk-proneness while driving. See, I've said that all along. Now an expert has said it. Stone Age brains, 21st century skulls. He was called in by Esure, the insurance company, to explain why its accident records varied dramatically. He said, Stone Age man did not drive. No kidding. But the legacy of his hunting, aggressive and risk-taking past, qualities that enabled him to survive and mate, thereby passing on his genes to future generations, are still evident in the way in which he typically drives his car. Unfortunately, the skills needed to survive in primitive times are not best suited for the motor car, and male drivers show significantly higher levels of rule breaking. However, women have a greater frequency of accidents at bends because they're more prone to errors of judgment and perception. Can't park. That's just a by the by. Here is Pearly. I'm sort of in the middle of my airline nightmare story. Alex.
Mine, yeah. I was listening to you ranting about the airlines, and I was wondering if you'd come across the phenomenon where they bump the prices up, depending on how many seats are left.
Well, yeah, yes, of course. The sooner you get to the flight time, then the more expensive it will be. What has happened to me in the past is I've got all the way through the booking process, right until the point where you click confirm, and then something has held me back. Or a phone went, or something like that. And if you don't continue without pause, the machine, when you press confirm, it will send you right back to the beginning again because you've taken too long. And then I thought, oh, here we go again. All right, I'll fill it all out again. And by the time you filled it all out again, the price has gone up. That's happened before.
Outrageous. The airlines say that even though there's no allocated seating, various seats still have different ticket prices. So you still have to fight for the seat that you want. You can't book a particular seat.
Sure you can.
Well, the airline that I use regularly wouldn't let you.
What, was it one of these cheap airlines?
No, it was a reputable national airline.
Reputable? Or it's not like Dave at the back with his plane?
No. Quite,
brand name?
Quite a big one.
Right, okay.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, I mean, it's happened to me, but over a period of a couple of hours, not in the short time frame that you described.
Yeah. As soon as I start filling out those forms, I just feel like I have to go faster, go faster, go faster. Don't worry about any mistakes. You'll sort it out at the airport. You just must complete.
Well, if you make a mistake and you need to change your name, they charge you an extra.
Yes, they do. Yes. All right, thanks very much, Alex.
You're welcome.
0845 6060 973. So I thought, well, shall I risk it? Shall I risk flying with an airline that hasn't got any money? Would you?
Surely if they're that desperate for money, they'll be giving away first-class seats at a tremendous rate.
No.
Oh.
No. So I thought, it's going to hurt, but I'll do it anyway. So I called up and I said, can I cancel my seats? And they said, certainly, sir. That'll cost you 30% of the price that we originally charged you. 30%? This is just like a day later. And I'm not flying for months. Like many months. Which I thought was a bit blooming outrageous. Why? Why 30%? Why on earth? How on earth can they justify that? I mean, it's not inconveniencing them. They still have many months. Where are we now? Like 5 months to resell those tickets. If I had cancelled the day before, or even the week before, then perhaps they might not have been able to resell them, but they just made 200 quid off me for nothing. Very annoyed. So I tried to figure out how to go there otherwise. And the way to do it was to go British Airways Terminal 5.
Oh, no.
That's right. I thought, what the hell, they'll have sorted it out by then, surely. Come to find out, going with an airline that is not based in Italy, I saved exactly the same amount of money as they charged me for cancelling my tickets with Alitalia. Can you believe that? So I ended up spending the same amount of money, even though I took a £200 hit from cancelling my tickets. Always shop around. Well, I thought I was shopping around by putting all my details into one of these churn sites that's supposed to give you the cheapest possible fare. I now had the fare down to for three one-stop trips, one-way trips, down to about £500. The cheapest fare available this is for two. The cheapest fare available on one of these internet churn sites, £1,600 versus £500 doing it direct with the airline. You believe that? Something has seriously changed with those. What would you call those sites? It's like a travel agent on the net, except you don't deal with an actual person. It's just all automatic. How can you deal with the airline directly, and it be about a third of the price of an organisation that's supposed to get you the cheapest possible fare? Mystifying. So with the one internal Italian flight, I thought, well, I could rebook with Alitalia, but that would sort of defeat the point. And there was two options. One was a company called, I think it's called Air One, who I've never heard of, and their logo was a turkey. It looked like a turkey. I thought, warning! You don't want to buy anything that's got a turkey for a logo. And the other one was Lufthansa. Vorsprung durch Technik. So I thought, I'll go with a German company. What could be safer? Even though the German company was about 50 quid more expensive than Turkey Air. But I thought, I'll just swallow it because I'll just feel safer in the sky. And so I went through the Lufthansa website and I, filling out all your details, and of course, you stop to take a sip of coffee, and you continue typing, and it says you're timed out. Can you please go back to the beginning and start again? Oh, Struth. Righto then. Pulling my hair. Actually, it's more stressful booking a holiday than the stress release you get on holiday. I've always found that painful. After having booked a holiday, I always feel I need a break. Unfortunately, it's like 5 months away. So I go through the whole thing, pay my extra £50 in order to fly with an airline I've heard of. Right at the very end, it says, please print out your receipt. Printed it out. Guess who I'm flying with? That's right. Turkey Airlines, which is a co-carrier with the Lufthansa. They just sell it under the Lufthansa name and then stick you in chicken air. Probably like geese running down the aisle. But I paid 50 quid extra to fly with Lufthansa, and then they stick me on a plane I didn't want to be on in the first place. And I could have sat in exactly the same seats for 50 quid less. Can you believe that? Stunned. So I'm thinking, OK, I'll call up Lufthansa, see if I can cancel, because I am very upset. Outraged I am. Now, if they charge me 30%, I haven't done it yet. I ran out of time. It takes a day to book flights. It really does. It just sucks not only the time, but the life out of you. I gained 10 years today. Oh, but you're looking so great, Nick. Thanks, Raj. Got no help here at all. But I'm going to try. I'm going to put on my best complaining voice and give it a go. This is LBC 97.3. LBC Listener Club. It's as simple as that. Once you're a member, you can request your tickets in association with Cineworld.
Everything is going extremely well.
George Galloway added to the gaiety of the nation this week in no uncertain terms. I might get into that in a moment. By the way, did you see the mayoral... I hate that word. Mayoral debate on telly last night?
No, I didn't.
No. I thought it was quite interesting. I thought there was, in the press today, and apparently people complaining to the BBC last night, there was something of a bias noted against Boris. And when I was looking at it, I thought, at the time, like, he seemed to be getting a bit of stick that the other two weren't from the audience. And the invigilator was allowing it. He was a Dimbleby. I can't remember which one. You can never remember which Baldwin it is. They all just sort of meld into one. And it did sort of occur to me, I thought, only when I read the report in the paper today about people had thought he had been treated unfairly, I thought, well, yeah, actually, I sort of felt that at the time. I didn't start standing up and shouting about it, because I don't really care. And I sat through it, and I listened to all the arguments and the answers, and I thought, I'm still undecided. I'm still disappointed, actually. Hampstead, hello, George.
Hi, Nick.
George.
You're disappointed. What are you disappointed at with the candidates?
Yes, the candidates.
The candidates. I did watch it. I didn't find it very exciting either. And I did think there was a slight bias against Boris.
Yeah, I did feel that, yeah. I mean, no other candidate seemed to get it from the audience quite like he did. Anyway.
I think he's going to win.
Well, we'll find out.
We will. I didn't manage to make it into the papers today as well. Little piece in the Guardian diary. I don't know if you spotted the Guardian at all.
I'm afraid that was absolutely last on my reading list. I skipped through it.
Reported my latest value bet wager, 3,000 to 1, that aliens of extraterrestrial origin will appear during the televised section of the opening of the 2008 Olympics in Beijing, to be verified only by a member or members of the IOC.
Hang on a minute. You've bet money at what, 3,000 to 1?
3,000 to 1, 333 quid I staked, and I stand to win 999,000.
And the bet is that aliens from space will make themselves known...
They will appear, yeah.
Right. During the opening ceremony of the forthcoming Olympic Games.
That's right.
And you only got 3,000 to 1.
I think 3,000 to 1 is tremendous value.
That's terrible. 300,000 million to 1, maybe.
I think it's even money myself. Either it's going to happen or it's not going to happen.
Well, that's an interesting way to look at it, George. Yes, you're right. It is even money, yeah.
Well, I think so. And
it's like a flip of the coin.
You know, I tried the same thing last year on the...
Mm-hmm. How'd you do?
Do you remember 7th of July, 777, all the Al Gore concerts? And I'd laid a bet or staked a bet in Southern Ireland, so I had €200 to win a €1 million that UFOs were going to appear over several of the concerts that day.
Wow, and I thought
but
you were crazy.
Happen. But this time there's only one venue to concentrate on. So,
yeah.
And hopefully I will get the assistance of Russell Brand and Robbie Williams to help me to...
What's gone wrong with Robbie Williams, by the way?
He's gone totally off into extraterrestrials and UFOs.
Yes.
And there's some program coming up about it.
Doesn't he have a record contract to fulfill?
He does, but he doesn't seem to be...
bothered.
Making any music.
Oh, it's a dream come true.
In what way?
If I never have to hear another Robbie Williams record, I'll remain contented.
Well, I'm trying to get him into a studio with Russell to...
Oh, that would be great, yeah.
I think it would.
What, lock them in, gas them, that sort of thing? Or have I gone too far? Oh, no, backing away sharply. I mean, locking them in and just breaking the key off in the lock. You know, as a childhood prank.
No, I've written this lyric for a revolutionary song called Let's Start Again.
All right, lay it on us, baby.
I just want to get them both involved in it.
Can you sing us a couple of bars?
I can't. No, we haven't got the music for it yet. We've only got the lyrics. But it starts off, we need to liberate ourselves from the governing classes, those lords.
Oh, Struth, that sounds like a pop hit, doesn't it? We need to liberate ourselves from the governing classes.
Those lords of misrule, those silly arses.
Classes with arses. Well, yeah. I take that back. That sounds like a huge hit on your hands there, George.
I think it is, potentially, if I can get Robbie and Russell involved.
Yeah, well, the best of luck with that. Okay, you keep us updated, George. Thanks a lot, mate. 0845 6060 973. Space is full of aliens. No less a personage than Stephen Hawking himself has said so. The universe is teeming with alien life, but little of it is intelligent, according to Stephen Hawking. In a speech to mark the 50th birthday of NASA, the astrophysicist said the Earth was unlikely to be the only planet where life had evolved. Well, that just makes sense, doesn't it? How could we possibly be the only planet in the universe where life has evolved? I mean, by the law of averages, there must be, I don't know, so I'll make it up, billions of planets that life is teeming upon. But he warned that an encounter with an extraterrestrial could prove deadly for humanity. He says, watch out if you meet an alien. You could be infected with a disease to which you have no resistance, which, coincidentally enough, was the theme of War of the Worlds. You know, just recently remade by Tom Cruise. You're looking at me like I'm talking Greek. You know, War of the Worlds. Huge,
yeah, I know it.
Huge movie smash.
But I think the other problem with, if we're going to go down the route of aliens, is that we're so conditioned to see them as we've seen them in the movies, that if they're slightly different, we're going to be in trouble.
We won't recognise them.
No, exactly.
Because they might not look as we expect aliens to look. What with the eyes out on stalks, right? But they'll still sound like... They'll still sound like that. Many respected astronomers say alien life is likely, given that there are billions of stars in the known universe. During his speech at George Washington University, Professor Hawking speculated on the reasons why mankind has failed to detect any signs of alien life. He offered three possibilities. That life of any kind is very rare in the universe, that simple life forms are common, but intelligent life rare, or that intelligent life tends to destroy itself quickly. Uh-oh. Are we not destroying ourselves quickly? I mean, in the great scheme of things, if you look at the timeline of this planet, we've done an enormous amount of damage in a very short space of time. Haven't we done well? Personally, he says, I favour the second possibility, that primitive life is relatively common, but that intelligent life is very rare, he said. Some would say it has yet to occur on Earth. Oh ho! Stephen Hawking. A joke. If only 1% of the 1,000 or so stars within 30 light-years of our solar system had an Earth-sized rocky planet in just the right place for life, there would still be 10 potential candidates for colonisation in our neighbourhood, he said. We cannot envisage visiting them with current technology, but we should make interstellar travel a long-term aim. By long-term, he says, I mean over the next 200 to 500 years. Well, I can't hang around that long. He also called for a massive investment in creating colonies on the Moon and Mars. Things which I think, it's like, what is the point? We're just wasting our time. Until we go and have a revolution in power, what's the point? All that effort it takes to throw the shackles of gravity off, why don't we just wait until we can do it easily, and then we can go where we like? The amount of money that they've spent on going to the moon, and what have we actually got from going to the moon? Apart from the one thing that everybody always says, Teflon. And Teflon is, well, I better not say Teflon is rubbish. Non-stick pans are rubbish. Because they not only do they not stick to your food, but they don't stick to the pan either. They come off in little bits. Physicists have previously suggested colonising space as an insurance against humanity being wiped out by catastrophes such as nuclear war and climate change. If the human race is to continue for another 1,000,000 years, we will have to go boldly where no one has gone before. Nanu. Humanity can afford to battle earthly problems such as climate change and still have plenty of resources left over for colonising space, he added. Oh, that's just silly. Am I alone in thinking that? What's the point in trying to colonise space until it's easy to get there? Professor Hawking compared those who do not want to spend money on human space exploration to those who opposed the journey of Christopher Columbus in 1492. I wish I'd read that bit before I raised a complaint. A flat earther, I am. The discovery of the New World made profound difference to the old, he said. Just think, we would not have a Big Mac or KFC. 2 jokes in the one speech. Spreading out into space will completely change the future of the human race and maybe determine whether we have any future at all. Anyway, that's all by the by, and has nothing to do with why we're all gathered here today. It's 8:15. LBC Travel with Will Gowing. If you have not seen Spamalot yet, then there is an opportunity to win tickets with Steve Allen next Tuesday on his show. It's the Monty Python comedy at London's Palace Theatre. Knights, killer rabbits, coconuts, buckets of mud, cows, it's got the lot. And as you probably know by now, Alan Dale, who has been in, well, everything, really. Neighbours, Lost, 24, Ugly Betty, much more besides. He is taking the lead role at the moment. Now, for your chance to win tickets to go see Spamalot, make sure you're listening to Steve Allen this Tuesday coming from 5 a.m. on LBC 97.3, where the phone number, if you'd like to join in on anything that I'm talking about, or indeed anything that you want, really, there's no rules particularly, 0845 6060 973. I have very bad news for cat lovers. I might come to that in a bit, or we might just draw a veil over the whole unpleasant mess. If you are a cat lover, you're not going to like it. Speaking of which, Catford.
Hello.
Trixie.
I missed because I was on the phone. I was just coming through. Were you talking about that bit about reusing fur or turning cats?
I haven't said anything about it yet. Don't preempt me.
Oh, sorry. Well, can I talk about what I wanted to talk about?
Of course.
Please? Okay. Well, recycling and space travel. Why? We've got so many problems with CO2, etc. Why don't we lump all the rubbish together, send it up to the moon, sort it out up there, and send the valuable stuff back to Earth? And we could actually have people, for example, instead of having people in cushy surroundings in prison, which I don't know if they are, then we could sort of have them working up there and recycling and sorting the cans out.
Send all the rubbish to the moon.
Yes, and there wouldn't be
human and otherwise, right?
Well, there wouldn't be any smell up there. There wouldn't be, the stench up there. There isn't very much atmosphere.
No, there's no atmosphere in those
and then they
outer
could
space
experiment
bars.
on, habitation and things. I mean, obviously, we're not...
Never mind about all that. Never mind about recycling or anything like that. Just send all of our rubbish to the moon. Good grief, Trixie, you're not as crazy as you sound. What a brilliant idea.
Not. So thank you. Does that mean I can go to Spamalot with you? You said a free ticket? No, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll give you my address. Have you got a pen?
Okay.
Yeah, pick me up at 8.
Fine.
That sounds like a very good idea. Pick a hole in that. Send all of our rubbish to the moon.
Yeah, but more than that, quite seriously, I mean, those people who are habitual offenders, they could, for example, go up there and they could do some, not a bit like sort of hard labour like they do in the States, but send them up there and they can do something valuable, and then they can sort out the stuff, send it back to humanity. They can't go out and escape and rob some old dears or anything. And then, when they're when everything's sorted out, they've paid their dues, then they can come back down.
Or
but
stay
they would
there.
have learned something.
Or they could stay there. Yeah.
Colonise the moon.
Have, criminal interface with each other.
Precisely.
And then they'd raise an advanced criminal race who would then build their own rockets and stage an attack on us.
There is that problem.
Yeah.
But because we're so far thinking, then we've solved that problem, obviously.
Right.
Yes. And
we'll
also,
never see them coming.
No, but the nuclear waste business. I mean, that's another thing we could do. We could pop that on the moon.
I bet that is exactly what we start to do. Eventually,
exactly.
Put all our rubbish, including the nuclear waste, on the moon. Then we'll always know where it is.
Well, yeah, and of course, then when the moon decides to crash into us, we know that we will be irradiated.
Yes.
But I mean,
there is a little chink in our plan. Yeah.
Yes, but that's honestly, I think we're really coming to the situation where we're going to have to turn to nuclear power. It's still cleaner than a lot of other means. We don't have to put out.
I suppose so, but the way I feel about nuclear power is kind of the way I feel about wind farms and wave power and all of that. The hippie electricity. It seems like an in-betweeny method of making power. It's like a stopgap until we actually come up with what's next.
Yes, better solutions.
Yeah, which has got to be the sun, because the sun ain't going to go out anytime soon, is it?
Well, no, but it's not exactly getting hotter at the moment.
Well, it doesn't have to get hotter. I mean, look at what the sun actually produces on this planet.
I know.
Every plant that's alive, both on the surface and under the sea, is using its power exclusively from the sun, and we just haven't been able to harness that resource at all. No,
I think we will be turning to the sea more and more for resources as well, because that's very much unexplored. There are so many areas that haven't been looked at yet.
Right. No, but I think that's a brilliant idea. Someone will certainly do it. Of course, there will be complaints from the usual suspects about, you can't put rubbish on the moon.
Oh dear.
But it sounds like a brilliant idea to me.
Yeah, well, and that's the only solution. But as I said, they could sort it out up there. You wouldn't get the...
Yeah, but you see, we wouldn't need to sort it out. We could just put it there and forget it.
No. If you do that, that means that all our aluminium will eventually get up there. We can leave the plastic bags up there. They will disintegrate and then start making huge clouds around the Earth, and then we'll have plastic bags raining down on us, and eventually... No, we could sort out the aluminium cans. I know that aluminium is the most widely common element, apparently, or metal around the Earth, but...
Is it?
It's difficult to mine and to access. So
right, okay,
we get them back. We send those back to Earth.
As you wish.
All right.
Thanks very much, Trixie.
I was being careful.
You were saving the planet. That's right. 0845 6060 973. That does seem like a brilliant idea. Is that not the solution to all of our problems? Put the rubbish on the moon, both the human and otherwise.
Instead of wasting space on the moon, why don't we just blast it into space? then it's not our problem anymore.
Did you see that picture recently of all of the stuff that's is orbiting the Earth? I don't know how on earth they got this. Maybe I should rephrase that. I don't know how they got this picture, but they pinpointed all the things from like specks of paint to things that are the size of a car that are orbiting the Earth and may smash into a satellite or a space station or an astronaut spacewalker at any point. And you could almost not see space through this cloud of stuff that's already up there, that's fallen off for rockets and space stations, and you know, somebody will drop a little space hammer, and it'll zip off at I don't know exactly how fast, so I'll make it up. 57,000 miles a second, and you could never catch that. Not even if you were running really fast. So no, I think that is not a very good idea on your part. You don't just blast it off into space. Put it somewhere. Stick it on the moon.
But it won't stay on the moon.
Sure it will. There's gravity on the moon. There is. There absolutely is gravity on the moon. Because otherwise, how would those spacemen, they would have just floated off otherwise.
Yeah, I think that might be because they're tied to their spaceships.
Boy's a fool. They weren't tied to their spaceships. They had very heavy boots.
But also because they were attached to their spaceships.
Yeah, they were, yeah. There's golf balls in space that are still flying.
I hit a wayward drive on the 4th last week.
You hit a wayward drive on the 4th. I bet it's still not up. It's landed, right? Golf. Don't get me started about golf. I once lost 5 balls off the tee. I didn't actually get off the tee. Every time I hit the ball, it went at a 90-degree angle to where I was supposed to be hitting it, and it went either in the water or in the rough, never to be found again. At which point, I threw my golf club on the ground and stomped off the course. This was only on hole 2.
You want to take some lessons?
So my parents keep telling me over and over again. Boring! It's like sitting here doing a show being stared at by my dad. Anyway, the number here, 0845 6060 973. Prison life is something that was in the papers and has already been mentioned a couple of times on this show so far. And it's worth going over this. I wonder if I'll have time before the news. Probably not. What time is it now? 27 out of 28:45. Oh, tantalisingly close. Inmates enjoy such comfort in jail that they're ignoring chances to escape, a prison officer's leader claimed yesterday. In one example, a drug dealer regularly broke into a Yorkshire jail over a 6-month period using a ladder to climb the walls and supply inmates with drugs and phones. The intruder waltzed across the yard with a ladder and used it to climb up to a cell window which had been pulled apart with a crowbar and covered by a dummy grill. The Assistant General Secretary of the Prison Officers Association said it was an extraordinary case because none of the prisoners inside tried to escape when no doubt they had the opportunity. It tells me there's something wrong in society when people are breaking into prison to bring in drugs, but the prisoners are quite happy to stay inside. Can you imagine such a thing? Inmates at a top security prison recently told Jack Straw, the Justice Secretary, that the conditions were like a holiday camp. They said they enjoyed the use of satellite television and video game consoles, as well as their free bed and board. Prisoners receive wages topped up by bonuses for good behaviour, while drugs are sometimes cheaper in jail than they are on the streets. It's understood that there also have been examples of prostitutes being smuggled into Majesty's Prison Sudbury, a Category D prison in Derbyshire. Drugs, prostitutes, Sky TV. What do you have to do to get inside? Mr. Travis said the prisoners would recognise that if a man can break in so easily and regularly, the opportunity was there to break out, but they didn't try. Well, not surprising, really. Who would? LBC 97.3.
LBC 9760
973. It's LBC 97.3 at 8:30.
Well,
Right, just read the last part of this prison thing. This is Glyn Travis, the Assistant General Secretary of the Prison Officers Association. He said he was blaming underfunding for leaving prison officers' morale at rock bottom as they struggled to cope with an overcrowding crisis that meant conditions were verging on anarchy. And The Sun printed a story today about an entire prison that they've cleared because they were going to change its category from, I don't know, A to B, or it's like alphabetic spaghetti over there. So there isn't anybody in there. They cleared everyone out at a point when I think isn't it extraordinary? There's more people in prison in this country now than there has ever been, and still it doesn't seem to be enough. What the hell's going on here? Isn't that amazing? That we have the highest percentage of population in prison, I think, with the possible exception of Luxembourg. I read that once. I only read it once, but we're number one in everything else. So let's say that we got more than anyone in Europe, and it still doesn't appear to be enough. Don't you find that bizarre? What's going on?
Is it because we're more wealthy now? Therefore...
We've got more stuff to nick?
Yeah.
What rubbish. Drugs are coming into prisons at a rate that's so dramatic, he says, that drugs in prisons are actually cheaper than on the outside. Prisoners receive a wage for being in prison. What? They receive a bed, a TV in all cells, Sky television in most areas for recreational use, free telephones, breakfast in bed. I don't get breakfast in bed. Actually, breakfast in bed is overrated, in my opinion. It's just annoying because you're frightened to move too much because you'll spill your tea, and it's just kind of irritating because your legs are out flat, but your back's up straight, and that's not a comfortable position for the human being to be in. You want to be bending at the knees. Am I right? So, have you ever had breakfast in bed? It's not as great as it's cracked up to be. Utter silence all round.
I don't think it's that bad.
Prison staff are forced to deal with prisoners in such a subservient way, it's ridiculous, he said. Can any of this actually be true? Let's have Forest Hill. Hello, Jill.
Hello. What, the whole population in prison? Well, it must be, because Amy Winehouse is now in there.
Amy Winehouse.
Yeah,
when are we going to be delivered from news of that woman?
Oh, God. Anyway, I wish her well, but what a mess.
Do you?
I do. I wish, well, she's a human being, but, what a mess. But anyway, hopefully she'll grow out of it.
Yeah.
But then again, I never thought I'd ever say, I think Trixie's onto something here. Right, well, we haven't got enough prisons and prison space here on Earth. The druggies are breaking in to the prisons.
That is amazing, really. I mean, if you've got a fistful of drugs on your person, you'd think that prison would be the last place you'd want to break into.
Yeah, it's a complete Monty Python. If Monty Python were going now, they'd make such a good job of that one. They really would. But they'd probably be hurling cows over the walls as from their...
Yeah, they did that.
Film. Anyway, instead of hurling them out at attacking people, they'd be hurling them in. But anyway, I digress. Yes, so I'm with Trixie. Build the prisons on a planet, Mars, Moon, I don't care where, as long as it's off this place. And so they have lots of space, no excuses about building them near people or, finding the right location or whatever. They've got the whole flipping planet. And then what they could do is they could give the prisoners what they want, give them all the drugs they want whilst they're transporting them, because that would keep them nice and subdued. And then when they get there, all nicely drugged up, and they get the proper treatment that they deserve for their crimes.
Leaving their bins slightly ajar, that sort of thing.
They're what, ajar?
I think that we're perhaps going a little bit too far.
No, I'm talking criminals. I'm talking, sensible laws, not rubbish council laws. The council is not the law, and they shouldn't set those flipping laws. Don't start me on that one. I'm talking about proper, against
send them to the moon
laws of that apply to every religion on this planet.
Right. No, I think it's a good idea to send our rubbish, because we're actually running out.
They are our rubbish.
Well, we're actually running out of space to put rubbish.
Yeah, and those people are rubbish
on this planet. Nuclear waste, particularly, is hard to deal with.
I'm not saying nuclear waste.
What a brilliant idea! Put it on the moon.
No. We'd irradiate. You're quite right. If anything happened there, we'd be the next to get it. We haven't got a planet far enough to send that stuff, but I don't think it's the right.
No, I do. There's nothing wrong with sending all of our rubbish to the moon, because we're never going to actually go and live on the moon.
No, but if it was to all go off there and it blew up the moon, what the hell would happen to us? It's a bit too close.
Well, I suppose so.
Yeah, a huge planet bomb. I think we need something a bit further away there. But no, perfect for the prisoners. You know, yeah, let's see the pushers get up there with a ladder. Yeah.
All right, thanks, Jill.
Thanks, bye.
0845 6060 973. Rubbish on the moon. I'm absolutely certain that will happen, because the population is increasing by the rate of, isn't it, 1 billion every 10 years? Isn't it something incredible like that? Haven't we increased our population by 1 billion in the last 10 years? And because it happens exponentially, of course, it's just going to get more and more. And if there's one thing that this planet has too much of, it's people. And what do people produce? Rubbish in enormous amounts. And, of course, as people get wealthier, they produce more rubbish. And they want more things, and the turnover of products becomes faster as people want the newer and the better. And the rate at which things are invented and improved becomes more speedy. So people are going to want all new things all the time. And so we think we throw away a lot now. We're going to be throwing away so much stuff shortly. We won't have anywhere to put it. The moon. Brilliant.
I'm surprised no countries ever tried to claim the moon.
Yeah. Well, they have stuck their flag on it. And of course, when somebody comes up with an idea of making money from the moon, they will start fighting over it in much the same way as Russia and America and Canada are all fighting over the Arctic Circle in a minute.
But surely at the moment the next big money maker from the moon would be space tourism. And therefore some countries should really go and claim the moon. And I'm guessing with the amount of power that they have, it would be America. And then they'd charge us all if we wanted to go to the moon.
That's an interesting point. Yeah, if nobody actually owns the land on the moon, eventually you would have to assume that there will be some sort of building there. I mean, if we're going to use it for anything, then we'll have to have some sort of staging post for, to water the horses, as it were.
I imagine what you'd have there would be some sort of landing station so that people can get off quite easily.
Yeah.
Make it comfortable for the tourists.
Mm-hmm.
And then other than that, if someone pays for a week to stay on the moon, they would need somewhere to stay.
There could be a colony up there that could be dangerously sited near where people have discovered alien eggs. And then when one of the relief units goes up there, they'll find a small child in an otherwise deserted facility who says that the monsters mostly come out at night. Mostly. Here is South Norwood. Hello, Paul.
Oh, hello.
Paul.
Yeah. About the moon, I don't think you're going to actually get all the rubbish up to the moon because of the Earth's gravity. It would take too much energy.
Yes, with the technology that we have at the minute. Yeah, I'm not suggesting we do it right now, but with the technology that will eventually be at our disposal, then I'm sure that it will cross someone's mind.
Yeah, I suppose that's possible in the distant future. Yeah, I suppose it's something to look forward to. Yeah.
Yes.
Back to prisons. Yeah. I'm not surprised that prisons are so overcrowded because it's so pleasant in there by all accounts from what we keep hearing. And I mean, it seems to me like going back to being a teenager. Like if you don't have to go to work, have everything provided.
Right.
You can play on your PlayStation all day. The only difference really is you wouldn't have your parents nagging you to do your homework.
Right. Yeah. Sounds like a dream come true.
To me.
Yes.
Don't you think?
Well, the way they're painting it, it does. However, I'm sure that the reality is.
Yeah.
I'm
I
not.
suppose you take the best bits and the
Yeah. I'm not sure that the reality is different, but I would hope that it is.
Yeah. Well, I would hope so. Yeah.
All right. Thanks very much, Paul.
All right. Cheers.
0845 6060 973. Here's Buckingham Palace. Danny.
I'm a cab driver and I'm just driving through, actually.
Oh, right, okay.
It's about this rubbish on the moon business.
Yes.
I was watching a programme on Discovery not too long ago, and they were saying to take a ton of equipment up into space or onto the moon whatever it may be, it costs £1 billion to take 1 ton. So whatever, the load is, it just doesn't seem very cost effective to get it, unless you've got another way of getting it up there. I don't know, is it propelled by rocket power, or what was the thought on getting it up there?
Well, whatever, because we've had the communications revolution, we had the first industrial revolution, a revolution that we have not had in the last 100 years or so is a revolution in power. And it's got to come, because it's the thing that we need the most right now. So people must be feverishly working on solving the problem. And when they do, when they come up with whatever it is that they're going to invent, then suddenly the cost of taking things off the planet and sticking them on the moon is going to be significantly cheaper. But I wonder how much...
The atmosphere as well, like the other...
That's right. But I wonder how much it costs to bury a ton of nuclear waste.
Yeah.
I bet that don't come cheap.
Another thing, on that same programme, they was talking about the lunar dust, and the ton of stuff they were taking up there was like seeds and stuff like that to plant and thin the atmosphere out. They obviously can't take bricks up, but they're saying that they can use the lunar dust to fabricate it, to make building blocks out of. So you wouldn't need to take any heavy equipment up there.
Right.
So when it comes to colonising it, it was the right lightweight and raw materials. That's where I got the cost figure from. That
right. So they wouldn't have to take the raw materials. They'd just have to take...
Yeah, because they can use the lunar dust if they just need like a fabricated machine to shape the building blocks, I suppose, or,
You just have to have some Polish brickies to cement it all together.
Yeah, exactly that.
Thanks, Danny.
All right, mate. Cheers.
0845 6060 973. It's 8:44. LBC Travel with Will Gowing.
Thanks a lot, Nick. In East Ham tonight, Barking Road is still partly blocked.
Yeah. Anthony Davis steps into the role of Jim Davis on the Sex and Relationships show tonight. And he's going to be asking if men and women can ever be friends without any sexual attraction to each other. And if you've ended up with or are secretly attracted to one of your friends, then Anthony would like to hear your stories and whether it has ruined or helped your friendship. So tune into the Sex and Relationships show. That's this evening from 10. Thurrock. Hello, Greg.
Hello, Nick.
Greg.
You're talking about the moon.
Yes.
And all the different ideas.
There's a moon in the sky, and it's called the moon.
Yeah. I thought I'd add to the lunacy of the conversation.
Oh, lunacy. I get it.
I get it. And you were saying about people owning the moon.
Yeah.
It's already been done.
Has it?
Yeah.
Who owns the moon?
Well, there's a guy in America, where else, who technically it's still debated. But what happened was that when American astronauts landed, or did they?
Yeah, who was taking that photograph when he of the first man on the moon? That's what I'd like to know.
Yeah, let's not go there. But anyway, the United Nations passed an international agreement that no country could lay claim to the moon, because they thought, the stars and bars are up there, and it will be the hammer and sickle that will start all sorts of malarkeys. So they passed this rule that no country could lay claim to the moon. And a guy in America read the rules and regulations and decided that it didn't say that no individual could do so.
Oh,
sneaky. So he went to the land registry offices, presumably the ones that deal with lunar real estate.
Yeah.
And
they have one just up the road. It's open 24 hours a day.
Yeah, just ask for Bernard. And he put in a claim, and he said he wished to register his claim for the moon.
Right.
He didn't have to have been there. He just said, that's a... And the rules were something like, if no one objected or put in a counterclaim within, I think it was something like 5 years, then technically it would go through. And that's exactly what happened.
Right.
And then he took out an ad in all the national papers, and I thought it was quite a nice story. He sold, I can't remember what size, it might have been a square metre or, but he divided the moon's surface up. He got all the photographs of the moon, and he divided it up into a grid.
Yeah.
And for things like Valentine's Day, he advertised that you could buy a specific plot of the moon for your loved one.
Right.
And he...
What, the size of a double bed?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what he did. And of course, when all that came out, everyone started huffing and puffing. They said, "Oh no, it can't be done." But I think they got a bit tangled up in the legality of it all.
Well, when it becomes when they find a way to actually make money from it,
which
then
is what I did.
Well, yeah, but no, I mean when governments find a way to make a lot of money from it. Like, for instance, storing our nuclear waste up there. I mean, that would be a good use for the moon, let's face it. I mean, it's not going to explode, is it? Nuclear waste doesn't actually go pop. But it's a good long way away, and we'll always know where it is. Right. When they find out a way to make some money from it, then that guy will be receiving a knock on the door late at night, and somebody will persuade him to give up his claim.
Yeah.
Or he'll just get completely ignored.
Well, yeah, this is it. I don't know whether it's going to be dismissed or anything, but I suppose technically, if you're going by the rules that we make down here on Earth, he's just got to sit tight.
Well, I suppose so, but governments don't adhere to those rules. They just make it up as they go along.
Oh, easy.
It's true. I mean, they're all trying to persuade us to be green and, don't drink tap, or don't drink bottled water, drink tap. And you know what? They've just refused to drink tap water, MPs.
Have they really?
They actually have, yeah. Hang on a minute, I've got that story. MPs have caused outrage by refusing to be served London tap water. That not just we would rather not, but they refused to be served it. The decision that flies in the face of environmental advice. The Commons authorities are clinging to bottled mineral water, and their reason? Cost and hygiene. Cost! The committee decreed that bottled water is cheaper to serve than tap water.
Really?
These are the economic geniuses that are helping run the country. No wonder we're in a state. They say that
I've been doing it all wrong then, haven't I?
Well, exactly, yeah.
I've been looking at my water bill and think to myself, well, I've saved a packet here, and I'll never buy bottled water, but I've obviously been doing the wrong thing.
Yeah, you fool.
I'll have to bath in that fizzy stuff.
There you go, much cheaper.
All right.
They refuse to be served tap water on cost grounds. That's insane.
Yeah, but it doesn't go any further to explain who said what, does it? I mean, it's just a newspaper report, isn't it?
Well, let's see. London tap water has been praised on quality, but MPs deemed it risky.
Well, there's no name.
What can you say?
Who's actually said?
Hang on a minute, I'll get to it. Commons reviewed its drinking supplies after the launch of the Standards, this is the Evening Standard, their successful Water on Tap campaign to remove the stigma when asking for it in restaurants. Everybody ask for tap water in restaurants? Absolutely.
Yeah,
I used to as well, but I used to feel embarrassed by doing it. Now I feel positive because I'm pretending not to, that I'm tight, but that I'm saving the planet.
Yeah.
Even number 10 Downing Street switched to flasks of chilled tap water for the Prime Minister and his cabinet. But MPs in general just won't do it. They drink 30,000 litres of bottled water, free, during select committee meetings each year. 30,000 litres.
Yeah,
how much must that cost?
Well, you're just quoting figures now, but there's no names there, is there? There's no one that's popped their head up and said, I've refused and we've decided that we've done this. It's just, they've just made it up.
What, the Standard have?
Oh, no, maybe not.
Although there are water coolers in the Palace of Westminster, members and their staff have bought some 850,000 litres over the past 5 years from canteens and bars. There's even a House of Commons label, produced by the Hilden Company, and their lorries have clocked up more than 70,000 miles over the years, delivering water from there to Westminster. The Cross-Party Administration Committee decided to stick with the status quo at a meeting on the 1st of April. April Fool's Day, can you believe it? Committee Chairman Frank Doran said,
Yes.
The committee looked at all the options and decided on the grounds of cost and hygiene that there was no better solution than the one in use at the minute. However, there is something that's something that the committee could look at again in future. Like I said, the whole world's gone crazy. They're insisting on bottled water over tap on cost grounds. What can you say when you're dealing with these people?
Yeah.
Anyway, there you go, Greg. You've got a name now.
Well, now I've got a name. I can rest easy.
There you go.
Cheers.
Thanks a lot. Ta-da. 0845 6060 973. Here is Beckenham. Hello, John.
Yeah, hello there, Nick.
John.
Good evening. I just want to talk to you about the prison service. It's a true story, but you might find it a little bit amusing.
Go on.
I don't know. As part of training for a job that I did overseas, I have to go and visit prisons. And part of the training course was to take me to Wandsworth Prison.
Yeah.
And I went there. And basically like a travel lodge, to be perfectly honest with you. People just don't want to come out. They try to get them rehabilitated in society and 50% go back in and reoffend. But one of the most interesting stories I had was the guy who took us around, a guided tour it was. I said, what's the most interesting story you've ever had? And he said, there was this guy, he got arrested on landing from Jamaica at Heathrow Airport with heroin. And he got 8 years. And he served 5 years of his sentence, and he went back to Jamaica. And he wrote to the governor afterwards and thanked him for his time that he'd served in prison. And he said, before I came in, I was a drug abuser, you've cleaned me, you've sorted out my teeth, you've given me money, which I've sent back to Jamaica, and my family have benefited as a consequence, and I look forward to seeing you again in 5 years' time. Story.
I like that. In what capacity were you touring the prison?
I work for the Foreign Office, don't laugh.
Right.
But I work for the Foreign Office, and when I go overseas, I look after British nationals that get into trouble in Thailand or in Southeast Asia. So if they break the law in Thailand, I have to go and visit them on prison visits. And I can assure you, prisons in the likes of Thailand and Vietnam are a downside worse than they are in Wormwood Scrubs and Wandsworth Prison.
Yes, don't try and take anything into Thailand. They're very hot about that.
No, it's getting things out of Thailand as well.
Oh, right,
but
yeah.
That's an immigration issue.
Yes, well, that is, of course, where a lot of the stuff that they object to comes from. But,
Absolutely, yeah. The poppy growers are out there. But I thought you might find that it's a true story about the Jamaican gentleman saying, I'll look forward to seeing you again in the not-too-distant future, Governor. Thank you for your help and support.
What a lovely tale. Thanks very much, John.
All the best, Nick.
Cheers, ta-da.
Cheers, bye.
0845 6060 973. What can you say? Let me just tell you about something that's coming up this weekend. James Max on Saturday at 11 o'clock for 3 hours. He's going to have the guest Andrew Lincoln. He's the actor from This Life, Teachers, Love Actually and the rest. And award-winning photographer Cambridge Jones will be talking about the new Barbados campaign to find permanent homes for thousands of children awaiting adoption. That is James Max, this Saturday, 11 o'clock in the morning until 2 in the afternoon. 97.3 LBC.
British Airways World Offers are now on.
And at 9, in conversation with Steve Allen and Anita Dobson. That's LBC. Oh, I didn't fade it up. It went, hello, boys.
Hello, boys.
I said that. Here is calling Gravesend. Hello, James.
Hello, mate.
James.
Yes. I was wondering why you'd want to send all the rubbish to the moon when you've got the sun. It's the biggest incinerator in the solar system. You could just send it up there and forget about it.
Right. I think it would take a little longer to get there.
Yeah, but you wouldn't care, would you? Once it's gone, it's gone.
Well, I suppose so. But what if we send it out there, and in between us and the sun was a vastly superior race? They'd be a bit knocked if we sent them our rubbish, and they'd send us back something in return, I betcha.
Yeah, I bet it'd be better than our rubbish, though.
Well, it would be more dramatic, probably, yes.
Well, we haven't heard from them yet, so the chances are against it, aren't they?
I suppose so, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, there's a very controversial and dangerous plan on your behalf, but I'll put it forward to the relevant authorities, all right?
Okay, cheers, mate.
Thanks, James. I'm still... I'm actually... The more I think about it, the more certain I am that this is a genius plan, and that somebody will eventually come up with it. And that's exactly what we're going to use the moon for, to deposit our rubbish.
But what happens when the moon is full?
Full? We'll just continue to pile stuff on top.
I think the idea of getting it to the sun is actually a better idea.
How far is the sun away?
83 million miles, I've been told.
What nonsense. Never heard such rubbish in all my life. How do you know that?
We don't know, so we just made a figure up.
83 million miles? We'd be on fire if it was that near 83 million miles.
We'll Google it and find out.
Oh, absolutely. I can't wait. I'll just sit here and twiddle my thumbs, shall I?
Look at us, a flurry of activity.
Yeah, I know. It's scary. Tortoises could move faster than this. Distance, Earth, Sun. You're speaking like a caveman now. Ugh. How far is the Earth from the Sun, the Moon, and all the other planets? How far are all the planets from the Sun? OK, well, let's find out. They're asking the question, but not giving me the answer. I don't know. I'm doing a radio show. You figure it out. It's Carl Shelton. Hello, David.
Oh, hello there, Nick. Hi.
David. How far is the Sun from the Earth?
I don't know. It's usually my local news agent. Hello.
Oh ho! I get it. It was like a joke.
Hello.
Yes, David.
Yeah, sorry. I was just calling up about the prisons.
Yes.
I've never heard such balderdash and piffle in all my life.
Oh, balderdash and piffle. It's.
Who says I'm not in touch with modernity?
Yes, exactly.
I mean, what this survey is probably one of those constructs made by the by the conservative press and the right. They probably does it say how many they've sampled it from? Probably 3 or 30 prisoners. Probably doesn't give the number, does it?
No, this is the Prison Officers Association that's saying this. The people who actually work in the prisons.
Oh, yeah, they're a reliable source. I don't want to slander them. I mean, you can't slander a group, but I mean, the less said about them, the better. I mean, look.
Well, they're at the front line, David. Who else are you going to believe?
Well, I've worked in prisons, in a different capacity for quite a while. And
like, in what capacity?
As a lawyer.
As a lawyer?
Mm.
Right.
And these prison guards, I mean, they're the reason that you've got sort of drugs permeating all the prisons. They're the reasons that you've got, that the prisons are in such a dire strait. I mean, I don't know if your show, I just came back just now from outside London. So, I don't know if have any prisoners called your show today?
No.
Yeah, I'll make a plea on behalf of you, Nicholas. It's okay if I call you Nicholas, isn't it? Yeah.
Only if you're my dad.
Oh, sorry, Nick. I'll make a plea on behalf of you. Prisoners, call in the Nick Abbot show, because I can assure you it's a vile place. It's somewhere that if you've been in prison...
In fact, why don't you come over?
Sorry?
We'll leave the front door open. Go ahead, come over.
You don't want... Oh, me?
No, mate, not you.
Okay. You don't want to go back to prison once you've been in there. I mean, it's completely balderdash. It's one of these constructs made up by... there used to be some radio stations where crackheads used to phone up and say, oh, this country's too politically correct and we need to bring back the birch.
I've heard radio stations with crackheads actually on the air.
I mean, give me a break. You've got people in this country who are out causing trouble, causing problems. A lot of it due to themselves, a lot of it, as a result of the societies they've been brought up in. But you can't honestly tell me if any prisoner, and I'm sure there's a fair few prisoners listening, because this is a London station. I mean, I'm sure a fair percentage of London's been in prison. But it's a vile place. It's horrible. It's it's like a hot McDonald's, only less food and more sweat.
Well, yellow, you mean?
Well,
okay, all right. Thanks for that, David. Cheers, mate. He didn't sound like a lawyer, let's be honest. 0845 6060 973. The distance from the Sun is 91 million miles. Oh, my thing's got hiccups again. Right. That doesn't sound very far away, does it?
According to you, we'd all be burning up.
Yeah. Well, no, you said 80 million miles. It's a massive difference.
Gary said 83 million.
Yeah, exactly. What a silly suggestion.
Not far out. Not far out at all.
Nowhere near.
In the grand scheme of things, 10 million miles.
Yeah, exactly.
You thought it was much further away than that,
I thought it was billions of miles away.
Well, you were wrong.
How daft am I?
I was
stupid. It's incredible. It's the first thing I've ever been wrong about. Here is Coventry. Hello, Patrick.
Hello there.
Patrick.
How are you?
Good, thanks.
The Sun is actually about 92 million miles away.
Nowhere near, mate. 91 million miles away.
No, that's not right. It's over 92.
I don't think so. I think you'll find that it is between 91 and 94.5 million miles away.
91 and 94? Look, I said 92.
Yeah, way out.
Way out. And also, it takes about 8 minutes for the light to get here, so...
Yeah, I wouldn't think so.
No, all right then. I'm wrong again, am I? I've got a Abbot on about Coventry.
No, just you. But thanks for making the effort.
That's very gentlemanly of you, sir.
All right,
Thank you very
cheers.
much.
We don't have to send him to Coventry. He's there already. 0845 6060 973. We appear to be talking about the moon and the solar system a lot. How on earth did we get onto that, Raj?
Because you're into science.
Oh, yeah, that's it. Me and science were like that. Yeah.
You wish you were Stephen Hawking.
Not me and nature, mind. I don't like nature after what it's done to me. Not Stephen, anything. George Galloway has enlivened the mood of the nation over the past couple of days. You want me to talk about that?
Not really.
No?
Oh, okay then.
Not really?
Well, George Galloway, after the whole Big Brother thing.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Okay.
I've been trying to wean myself off rubbish television, which is hard. I just find myself watching the same thing over and over again. Third Rock from the Sun is on Sci-Fi. Have you ever seen Third Rock from the Sun? You know what a family-friendly, verbally bland program that is. It's on the Sci-Fi channel now. I swear they're actually putting up warnings before they play the program. Warning: this program contains offensive language. In Third Rock from the Sun, it's like saying that Friends contains offensive language. They actually put a warning up in front of that program. What have we come to? Anyway, George Galloway. There's quite a few things that I want to talk about, and I'm going to run out of time. I know it. Cat lovers. Are you a cat lover? Any cat lovers in there?
I hate animals.
You hate animals?
I just don't see the point of keeping them as pets. I can't stand it when people gush over their animals and say, "Oh, look what my dog did," or "Look what my cat did," and they name them and they treat them like humans. And it's like, get a grip.
Well, yeah, that seems a bit harsh, doesn't it?
What's the point of a pet?
Well, there's no end of points to pets. Company, for a start. They improve your health, psychologically and physically. Stroking stop laughing at me. Stroking a cat or a dog actually does decrease your heart rate. It sends your blood pressure down. It gives you... sorts out your sine waves. Very important. I've got no idea what I'm talking about now. Just making it up. But they do. They calm you right down. There's a cat. Every now and again, when my parents go on holiday, I go cat sit. And I find myself talking to the little thing. Ah.
I'm very allergic to cats, so it doesn't calm me down at all.
Right. Victoria? Are there any animal lovers here at all?
Yes.
Right. What kind of animals do you like, Victoria?
Well, I have a horse and a donkey.
You have a horse and a donkey. Not really the answer that I was expecting. You can't really... Or can you have... I mean, they're a bit standoffish, aren't they? You can't cuddle a horse.
She's a bit big. The donkey's easier to cuddle.
Okay.
You just put your arms around her neck.
Right, I wish I hadn't asked now. But thanks for sharing. That's the main thing, eh? Okay, well, if there are no end of cat lovers in this audience, I know that to be the case. And I have very bad news indeed. You're not going to like it. And there was only one newspaper that picked this up. I suppose it's not really a current story. And it was The Independent that ran this today. And they were alone in this, as they are alone in so much else that they print. They're contrary-wise. They like to go their own way. You know, like Fleetwood Mac. I'll come to that if I remember. You will remind me to do the cat thing, right? I also want to do George Galloway, which sort of fits in because I believe that he did dress up as a cat and did disgusting things with Rula Lenska. It was Rula Lenska, right? Also, there was an interesting comment by Frederick Forsyth about the Olympics today, which chimed exactly with what I think now and what I thought at the time, which was in complete contrast to what everybody else thought at the time. You remember that day when we won the Olympics, and won in inverted commas, like we won the booby prize. Everybody was jumping up and down and screaming and yelling, and isn't it fantastic? And I had my head in my hands going, oh no. You know what this means, don't you? And I was proved 100% correct in every respect so far. And the bill's still going up. And when they said 3 billion, I said, wind the tape back. I was on Saturday nights at the time. I said 12. And I've recently, and they're saying now 9. So it is 12. If they're saying 9, it's 12. But it won't be 12. I'm telling you right now, it'll be 20. 20 billion pounds. It'll be the biggest overspend in the history of construction. We're famous for it. What did they say that the dome was going to cost? A temporary tent, if you please. They said it was going to cost, I think they originally said 200,000, something like that. Ended up costing $1 billion. $1 billion for a tent. So we've just got no hope. And I knew it at the time, and everybody else pretended it wasn't going to happen. Anyway, I'll get into that if you remind me, Raj. It's all down to you. 9:16. LBC Travel with Will Gowing.
Still probably...
Hi, honey. How are you?
I am super. Thanks for asking. There was a picture of Gwyneth Paltrow on the front page of a lot of the papers today. Did you see that?
Most certainly did.
Yes. Now, what does she look like to you? Because I've got the picture that they printed on the front page of the Daily Telegraph. You know, the Super Soaraway Telegraph? Now, if it's not Liz Hurley, then it is, somebody else. It's like an excuse, but they're still going down the Babe route. The Telegraph. But there she is, looking like a hooker. She's got the mad, scary, scarecrow hair, like she's just borrowed a wig from Catweasel. And she's wearing a dress. Well, I assume it's a dress. It could be a placemat. It's so short, I'm not even sure it covers her bottom, because I'm looking at her from the front. It might cover the top of her bottom, but not the bottom of her bottom.
No,
it's microscopic.
It does cover the bottom.
Right, he checked. With a microscope, he checked. She is, how old is she now? Oh, there it is. She's 35, a mother of 2. It's freezing bloomin' cold out, right? I mean, it's got slightly warmer lately, but it's not that warm, is it? So why is she dressed like an 18-year-old hooker? The reason is because she's advertising a movie that she's in with Robert Downey Jr. And my question is, did Robert Downey Jr. show up on the red carpet in a pair of hot pants and a vest? No, he did not. He showed up in a suit, covered from his chin to his pointy boots. Why do women continue? Why are you doing this to yourselves, women? To be taken seriously, you dress like a tart. Tell me that that's not what she looks like, Raj.
I don't know. I think she looks okay.
Well, yeah, exactly. You're not responding to the picture in the way in which I'm meaning it. You're just responding to it as a sexist pig. You disgust me.
I resent that.
Well, you resemble that. I'm just mystified. Why would you do that? She's 35 years old. She's looking like she's available for 50 quid. That's just terrible. Robert Downey Jr., on the other hand, showed up, the very model of decorum. Explain that to me, Victoria.
Well, firstly, she doesn't need to be taken seriously because she's an actress. And it's not like she's, running for Prime Minister or anything.
I beg to differ. Actors do need to be taken seriously because they're paid. I mean, she probably gets 10 million a movie for that.
Yeah, but it's a superhero movie, so why does she need to be taken seriously?
Well, okay, why did Robert Downey Jr. dress up in a suit?
Well, he wouldn't turn up in a miniskirt,
Well,
would he?
exactly, but no, not a miniskirt, but the male equivalent to this would be a vest and hot pants.
No.
Yes, it would.
Did you see her legs? They look stunning.
That's irrelevant.
And she clearly, that's what actresses want, is attention.
But surely that's what actors want as well.
Yeah, but he probably knew he wasn't going to get the attention anyway, because Gwyneth Paltrow was going to be there.
I bet that she didn't get as much for this movie as he did.
Oh,
why? Because he, even though he's been inside for all his various travails, he is taken more seriously than she is. Why? Because he didn't show up in looking like a go-go boy. She, on the other hand, looks as though the only thing that's missing from this photograph is the pole that she should be dancing on. Why do they do that?
Well, I'm only speaking from experience.
Yes.
I'm going to see my girly friends tomorrow, who I haven't seen in about 3 months. And I will be trying, and putting makeup on, which I don't normally do, and dressing up a bit. I'm not going to be dressed like her, I will let you know, but I will be dressing up a bit. And maybe she's just sort of competing, and it is a kind of, look at me, look at me. If she turned up in a trouser suit, everyone's like, who's that? Who's just wandered onto the catwalk?
They will say, who is that sophisticated, worldly woman? Oh my God, get security. There's somebody that's just straight in from King's Cross. Why do they do that?
I think she looks nice.
She looks a bit mad from the photograph on the front page of the Daily Telegraph. She looks like she's actually about to launch an attack on someone. It's like, comb your hair, dear, and close your mouth. You look crazy. But I'm just mystified why women continue to do that. How can you possibly be taken seriously as an artiste when you show up in public dressed like that? Dressed in your underwear, basically. She's stepped straight from bed and just put on a man's jacket. I just don't get it. I honestly don't get it. I mean, if you're a glamour modou and you've got nothing else going for you, then sure, show up in your scanty panties. But this is supposed to be, an intelligent woman of the world. I mean, she's married to that guy from Coldplay.
Boring!
The world's most boring rock star. Tell me if I'm wrong.
I'm going to say again, she doesn't look that bad.
No, I'm not saying that she looks bad. I'm not saying she looks ugly. You're just responding. You're thinking, whoa, like that. Which was the response that was intended. Why do women continue to do this, but men don't? I mean, even male sex symbols in the cinema. Let's name some. Tom Cruise, Brad Pitt, Sean Connery.
Maybe it's because men have never dressed that way to get attention.
But that's bizarre, because every other species of animal on the planet, the male of the species is the one that dresses the most extravagantly in order to present the most sexually alluring image that they can. The women, or rather the females of any other species, are the dowdy ones who are doing the shopping, as it were. And the men are there, getting their little feathers out and doing their little dance like that. Busting a gut they are in order to waggle their bottoms in the faces of the female of the species, whereas the human race is completely the other way around. I think it's the only race on the planet that does that. Correct me if I'm wrong. Looked like you were going to say something, and then you thought again. Go on. Say it.
No, I've got nothing.
You got nothing. Victoria?
You are right. I can only think that in the animal kingdom, men want their line to continue.
I'll try and give you a call back in a bit, alright?
Yeah.
and that's why they want a woman, and whereas in human it seems to be that women want the babies, not the men. And it must just be because we've got free will and we can think about it, and animals just get on with it.
That was the worst answer to any question that's ever been given in the history of the planet. That was awful. I want you to listen back to the tape and write that down. You'll be shocked too.
Maybe it's because in the animal kingdom, the males are dominant.
They're dominant in the animal species, in the human species as well. I mean,
maybe dominant isn't the right word.
The Sunday Times Rich List is just coming out, and it's the basis of pretty much every other story that's in the news, because they've got this massive PR push at the moment. And one of the stories that have come out of this list is that something like 10%, only 10% of that list is made up of women. who make up 50% of the population, more or less. So that shocking statistic alone will tell you that strides have been made, but this is still a very patriarchal society. Men are still in charge, in much the same way as they are in the animal kingdom. So what is it that has made women flounce around and show off their feathers and men not? And I'm sorry, but there's just something a little bit wrong about a 35-year-old woman so desperate for attention that she goes out in public in the freezing cold dressed like that. Just a thought. LBC 97.3. 0845 6060 973 the phone number. It's LBC 97.3 at 9:30.
3.
Would you mind telling me what this is all about?
Can you get up the weather forecast from the, whoever is most reliable? I want to know what it's going to be like tomorrow. Now, she mentioned that it's going to be more spring-like than it was today, but I'd like to know the exact figures. I want to know whether it's going to be sunny or cloudy. I want to know how it's going to be hot, or I want the chill factor and everything, and I want to know how long it's going to last.
I think it'll be 20 degrees and sunny.
Is that a guess?
No.
Well, just give me the facts, Jack. Here you are, then. Now, wait a minute. Saturday the 26th of April, that sounds like tomorrow to me. This is too much information. Flash warnings of severe or extreme weather. What? Oh, no flash warnings have been issued. That's a relief. Now go to the BBC website. There you go. Click the 5 full day. Okay, Saturday. Oh, look at that. The symbol? Now, it could be anything. It could be a cloud. It could be a cloud with raindrops. It could be cloud with a little sun peeking around the side of it. Or it could be full-on sun. When was the last time you saw it? Just full-on, no clouds, just sun. That's what it's going to be tomorrow. Hallelujah. Everybody.
What's really annoying is that Sunday's going to be heavy rain.
Heavy rain straight afterwards, yeah. We've got spring for one day, and then it gets significant. Oh, that's very bad news. Look at what it's like by Wednesday. It shows it to you, some of that is, and then it takes it back away.
I'm playing golf on Sunday, which is why that's even more disappointing.
Saturday's going to be 20 degrees centigrade. I'll have to do this in Fahrenheit because it never seems as warm. 68, okay, that's practically 70 degrees. That's picnic weather. And on Sunday, it's going to be raining a lot. And then back down to 62. Monday, raining, 57. Tuesday, raining, 53. Wednesday, raining, 51. Oh, dear, what a pity. But you know what? It's actually going to be the nicest weather on at the weekend. Isn't that bizarre? Because that never happens. And do you know why that never happens?
Because it's England?
No. Somebody did actually come up with a theory about why the weather is always unpleasant at the weekends. Better during the week, less nice at the weekends.
Is it because we're working during the week so it appears nicer?
No. No, it actually is nicer during the week than at the weekends.
Is it? Is it because we're working?
What? He's lost it. Richmond, hello, Alan.
Hello, how are you?
Alan, I'm very well.
That is the same Gwyneth Paltrow we're talking about who called her child Apple or something, wasn't it?
Yes.
And what was the other one, guava or pomegranate? I mean, seriously, when somebody brings up a brood and decides to call them after fruit and vegetables, how can you expect her to dress with any kind of decorum?
Well, she sounds like a Fruit Loop to me, yeah.
Well,
I think the other kid's called room service or something like
that.
that.
Yeah, when you marry someone who's that boring just because they're wealthy...
what a dull household that must be with their... they probably eat sandals for breakfast, don't they?
Yeah, probably.
But there she is, looking less like a vegan than anybody I've ever seen in my life.
And as for that, women dressing like that, when was the last time you went to a nightclub in Liverpool?
Well, you don't have to go to Liverpool, you can go to Leeds. In fact, you don't even need to go to a nightclub. They're just hanging around the streets. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Till I actually did that, I was actually doing a gig up there, and we went out for a kebab. It was like 3 o'clock in the morning in November, and the street is full of girls in Well, I thought they'd been robbed or mugged or something. I swore that somebody had stolen their clothes, or maybe the hat check had shut down before everybody left or something.
Right.
And in one hand is a pair of stilettos, and the other hand is a beer bottle. And almost every girl I saw, they weren't munters. They're not all mooses up there.
No.
Good-looking girls like that. And I'm like, why are you doing this?
Yeah. You're right. Thanks very much, Alan. Cheers.
No worries.
0845 6060 973. Yeah, they beyond Watford, they don't possess mirrors, by which I mean at all. Have no idea that's how they look, which is why they go out looking like that. Ain't that right, Raj? It's the M25. Hello, Dave.
Oh yeah, how you doing?
I'm very well, thanks.
Good. You was talking about the colours of birds and why the males always look the best and everything.
Yes.
Well, it is for part of the mating process, but the females are normally duller, so when they're sitting on their eggs, they become less vulnerable from other predators.
I've never thought of that. Good grief, that sounds plausible.
Well, it's true.
Well, where did you come up with that?
It's a fact. It really is a fact. Fact of nature.
Right. Well, that seems so logical. I can't believe that I've never thought of that before. You're a genius, Dave.
Well, I like to think I am, but I'm not.
All right, well, thanks very much for that.
You're welcome. Have a good evening.
Cheers. 0845 6060 973. It's like an education, this show, ain't it?
No.
I'd never thought about that. Doesn't that make sense? The female of the animal species, of all animal species, are less flamboyant in their markings than the male, because they're the ones that have to sit on the eggs or take care of the brood, whatever it might be. And so to draw less attention to themselves. So they'd be less obvious to predators. I'd never thought about that. That makes perfect sense. And we're all thinking, and you're all a bit serious in there now, and you're thinking, oh, gosh, I'd never thought about that either. You have actually learned something today, eh?
Every day's a school day here on LBC 97.3.
Here is Manchester. Hello, Paul.
Nick, good evening. How are you?
Very well, thanks.
Listen, I really felt strongly that I'd pick up the phone tonight. I actually wrote to you a while ago, and you very kindly sent me a letter back acknowledging my letter.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like me.
No, well, basically, I bought myself a portable DAB radio about 2 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
And the channels were preset, and I actually came across LBC for the very first time.
Yeah.
And may I just say, and I don't want to embarrass you, I absolutely think you're just a top guy. I love your show, and you have me laughing like a loon. I sit on the metro coming home with my earpiece in, and you just make me laugh. And I just wanted to just say, what you do makes a difference, and I really, really and thoroughly enjoy your show. And if you don't get an award at some point, I'm amazed.
I feel a giant butt coming here, Paul. That can't be it.
I speak from the heart. I mean, I'm particularly going through a particularly hard time in my life. And at the end of my working day, in a job I absolutely hate, you're just a shining light. And it's just a treat to listen to you every night. The preparation in your show and the people there who work alongside you is just, it's a great show.
Wow.
And just commenting on the things you were just talking about young girls and the way they dress and stuff. I'm the same as any guy. I'd love to look at pretty girls, but femininity seems to have just gone right out the window, and we're in big trouble. And there's some beautiful girls, but the way they dress, if I had a daughter of that age, I'd be beside myself.
You're not going out dressed like that, you'd say. Yes.
Exactly. But anyway, I just wanted to say that. Thank you for your effort in your show, and it's a treat. And thank you very much indeed.
Oh, thanks very much, Paul.
Bye-bye, mate.
Cheers, mate. That was a call from the programme director. Isn't that fantastic? 0845 6060 973. I've got cat news that you're really going to hate. I'm not actually sure that I want to read it out, because people are going to be, oh, you're not going to like this. But so far, I haven't. No one's actually said that they're a cat or indeed an animal lover. We hate animals here, and that is the official position of LBC. No, it isn't. No, it isn't. That is not the official position of LBC. We love animals here. Of course we do. Any kind of animals. Even those. I don't know. People aren't going to like this cat news. But you're not bothered in there, are you? Is I bothered? No.
I ain't bothered.
Maybe I'll do the George Galloway news.
Do the cat news. I want to know what it is.
Well, you're just going to laugh. You evil,
Never.
nasty child.
I love animals.
Firebrand MP George Galloway was knocked out in mid-rant yesterday by a squeezy foam stress ball. Are you allowed to laugh at this? This is not funny. This, of course, didn't happen yesterday, it happened the day before, but there's an update to this story in the newspaper today. Knocked out mid-rant with a squeezy foam stress ball. Galloway, 53, was... I don't know if I'll be able to get through this, actually. Oh. Deep breath. OK, I can do it. Galloway, 53, was shouting through a loudspeaker aboard an open-top bus when he came under attack. Witnesses say the former Celebrity Big Brother contestant ducked to avoid the ball and banged his head on the side of the bus. But an aide from Galloway's Respect Party said that the ball scored a direct hit to his temple. He keeled over on the top deck and spent 20 minutes having treatment in an ambulance. I can't see anymore. And spent... Someone's going to have to come in here and read this for me, because I can't get through it. Oh, OK. Shh. An aide from Galloway's Respect Party said that the oh. OK. I can do this. An aide from Galloway's Respect Party said... said that the ball OK, I can't do it. I can't do it. Oh. Maybe if we go to the travel, then I'll come back and I'll be all right. I'll have to stop picturing it in my mind, and I'll just think of them as words, and then I'll be able to get through it. I'm sweating now. And I've got tears running down my face. 9:43... LBC Travel with Will Gowing.
Thanks very much, Nick.
Well, let's get back to it.
Firebrand MP George Galloway was knocked out in mid-rant yesterday by a squeezy foam stress ball. Galloway, 53, was shouting through a loudspeaker aboard an open-top bus when he came under attack. Witnesses say the former Celebrity Big Brother contestant ducked to avoid the ball and banged his head on the side of a bus. But an aide from Galloway's Respect Party said that the ball scored a direct hit to his temple. He keeled over on the top deck and spent 20 minutes having treatment in an ambulance before getting back on the bus and resuming his tirade. I got further than I did before. Keep going. You can make it. The ball, similar in size to a tennis ball, was hurled from an office overlooking the bus route in Holborn, central London. Cops raced to the scene to arrest the man who threw it. Witness Richard Barden, who works in the same building, said, "I heard Galloway's bus. I looked out of my window. He was on the top deck, acting like Lord of the Manor, wearing sunglasses and talking through a loudspeaker. There were about 20 party members with him. Suddenly he fell over, the bus pulled up and an ambulance was called. The police arrived quickly and took away someone from the office above me. Galloway's spokesman said, George is shocked." Excuse me. "The ball hit him on the left temple. It was a direct hit. He collapsed to one side. He was dazed for some time. He has a bruise coming up but didn't go to hospital." The whole point of the open-top bus was so that George could get back to old-fashioned politics, he said. The ex-Labour MP, infamous for backing Saddam Hussein, was on the campaign trail for the London Assembly elections. He said, "It was shocking for my granddaughter of 3 who was on the bus with me, but I am not going to let it deter me from my campaigning." Colleagues last night named the ball chucker as Tim Heald, 32, of Penge, south-east London. He is commercial director of market research firm The ID Factor. A pal said, Galloway has been going past on his bus every day, making a racket. Everyone had finally had enough, and someone decided to do him with a squeezy ball. Just the phrase. I mean, the first sentence is... The people at the Sun need a round of applause. Firebrand MP George Galloway was knocked out in mid-rant yesterday by a squeezy foam stress ball. That is perfect. That it would be a stress ball. Anyway, there's more. Here's a story in today's Sun. Maverick MP George Galloway was at the centre of an assault probe last night after allegedly shoving a protester. Witnesses claimed the Firebrand 53 flipped when a man yelled, I salute your indefatigability, you bleeper. Galloway, who famously hailed the indefatigability of Iraqi despot Saddam Hussein, flew down the stairs of his open-top campaign bus to confront the heckler. He is said to have pushed him in the chest before being led away by Respect Party aides. Last night, the MP's spokesman, Kevin, insisted Mr Galloway didn't assault anyone. We will await contact from the police. Scotland Yard said, at approximately 2 p.m, a man approached a police officer alleging he had been assaulted by another man. There have been no arrests, and our inquiries continue. I salute your indefatigability, you bleeper. Brilliant. I just thought I had to get through that, because that was... Oh. Exhausted now. Ah, my face hurts.
Well, you've got to have a laugh intro.
Well, you do, yeah. Oh, that was my quota for the week. Oh, I'm totally worn out. It's a good job I've only got 10 minutes to go. I think I can make it, as long as I do, something a little less... light. Put it like that. Do you want to do the cat thing? You won't like it.
Do it.
Maybe I should do something else before the cat thing. Here's the Olympics comment that I was talking about earlier on. This is Frederick Forsyth. Now, I seem to be alone when the Olympics was won and everyone was jumping up and down on the stage in Trafalgar Square. Do you remember? Leaping up and down they were, and there was Seb Coe in his beige suit with a lot of other people who were wearing a similar attire in, I don't know where it was. Was it in Paris that they made the announcement? Somewhere abroad. Jumping up and down they were, and their, nylon coveralls. And I thought, oh no, everyone was saying, yay, we've won the Olympics. And I thought, oh no, we've won the Olympics. Because I knew what was coming, because it's, you can see it from every country that's won the Olympics in recent history. It always leaves giant white elephants, arenas that aren't used by anyone from the second that the final whistle goes, and they're just padlocked up, and they've got security patrols at costs of millions of pounds for buildings that cost a giant amount. They're still paying it back in Sydney and Barcelona and, wherever else it was. Where's it been recently? Sydney, Barcelona?
Atlanta,
yeah. I think Atlanta, they actually made some money, though, didn't they? Because the Americans are very good at that. Essentially, it's the Olympics is not about amateur athletes now. It's about sponsorship. It's been given over to Nike, Coca-Cola, whoever it is. It's the Nike Coca-Cola Games. It's not the Olympics anymore, is it? And nobody that actually appears in the Olympics is an amateur anymore. They all do this for a living. Anyway, this is Frederick Forsyth. He said, I suppose most of us cheered in 2005 when London won the Olympics of 2012 in the face of rabid competition from the French. Now I'm having second thoughts. Years ago, the spirit of the Olympics really was that of friendship through sportsmanship and the cult of the true amateur. Now we know all the communist contestants were full-time professionals and many of them doped. We know that our true amateurs, Chris Brasher, Chris Chataway, Seb Coe and Steve Ovett, were running against paid athletes, whether from east of the Iron Curtain or west of New York. Now commerce and profit dominate everything. Winning means wealth through sponsorship. Every food and drink concession involves corporate marketing. Scandals involving performance enhancers are exposed almost weekly, sometimes referring to medals won years ago. Politics dominates everything commerce is not interested in. Questions rage as to whether Beijing should be ostracised because of Tibet and Darfur. Maybe we should have boycotted Hitler's 36 Olympics, but we didn't know the full truth. Finally, there is the truly astronomical cost of just one fortnight's running, jumping and throwing things. Directorships can allocate no-limit funds, but democracies have to justify the taxpayer's sacrifice. It may be that a huge area of East London, almost derelict and, we now discover, with toxic waste in the subsoil, will be renovated. But we could do that as a civil engineering project. With these facilities we're building, will they ever be used again? And will the cost, starting at under $3 billion, settle at 10 or rocket towards 15? I'm saying 20. You heard it here first. Rather than sporting triumph, London 2012 looks like a ruddy expensive ego trip for a small minority, and it'll take the rest of us a generation to pay for. We'll be paying for this for the rest of our lives. Anyway, that's what Frederick Forsyth said in the the Express. Yeah, the Express today. Freddie Forsyth. Well, he's a...
he's an author.
That's quite a coup to get a columnist of his calibre in the Express. Which is a paper that no one reads.
If it wasn't so commercially viable, they could whittle the Olympics down to one event and one event only, and that would be the 100 metres final.
No, it would be the decathlon.
No, what? Who watches the decathlon?
Well, you should. It's surely... I would say with the decathlon, along with perhaps gymnastics, is the epitome of what it is... of what the human body is capable of, which is surely what sporting events should be all about.
Yeah, but in the Olympics, and the only person anyone ever remembers who is the fastest person on Earth, and that comes down to the 100 metres final.
But that's just a boring race. I mean, they run in a straight line, and that's it. Big deal. It's over in 10 seconds. It's just so dull. It goes too fast to actually get into.
Yeah, but you could be the fastest man on Earth, wouldn't you like that honour?
Well, and you say that that's the only thing that anybody remembers, but that's completely untrue. Once again, you're wrong. Who's the current holder of the fastest man on Earth title? You've got no idea. See? Here's the cat thing. You won't like... Oh, I don't know if I've got time for this now.
You got time.
Maybe I should, You just want me to say bad things about cats. What an awful person you are. Maybe I should save this over till next week, because there will undoubtedly be a shocked and disgusted reaction, and people will want to have their say on it. In it! Oh, maybe I should do Shakespeare. There was almost all of the papers today were doing Shakespeare. Now, hang on a minute, I've got this somewhere, I know I do. Working for the Weekend, Police Common Sense, Food Wars... T-Rex. Do you know what the T-Rex is closest to? Oh, I can't believe I haven't got that. Where's my Shakespeare thing? Wait a minute. Oh, sausage rolls, MPs employing families, train tickets, T-Rex, working for the Weekend, police common sense, food wars. Hey, where's my Shakespeare thing? Did you see the thing about Shakespeare today? Oh, it was fantastic. Somebody's written a book. It was rewritten... Shakespeare's books in street slang. Oh, I'm really upset. I don't have that. That was the part that I was going to end the show on. Oh, no. What a calamity. It's all your fault, Raj. I mostly expect. This is ridiculous. Oh, I'm outraged. I am distraught. It'll be sitting on my desk. Useless to me. What time are we out? In about 10 seconds. Oh, well, sorry about that, boys and girls. Maybe next week, eh? I shan't be here for Monday's show because we're having a very special event. Hey, Raj, what have we talked about tonight, eh?
We spoke about punishing filth... punishment fitting crimes.
Yes.
Fluorescent vested fellas.
Yeah.
sausage roll droppers, prisons, the cushy lives of,
right,
letting prisoners out, empty prison cells, custody, something. I don't. My writing's really bad today. I'm
What
afraid.
a shower!
Renting from the police, Alitalia.
Oh yeah.
Lifeless to. Lifelines to airlines. Sorry.
Good
Sorry.
grief.
Jim Callahan.
Yes.
Saving money.
Right.
4 guys named Vinny.
Hey. Yes.
Watching the sat nav, acting like a caveman.
What a shame. This is LBC. Anthony's next.